Alright, haven't put out a video in 5.5 days, so I figure I might as well, right? As I'm watching Jerome Powell and Secretary Mnuchin testify before House Committee. So, Reworked Vader. I mentioned in my last video that I was going to put something out. I didn't want to put anything out before the two territory wars that we had in Maw 1. Turns out I could have put the video out anyway because we didn't win either of them. So, a little butthurt. In fact, I lost 2 territory wars and 2 GAC matches to TI and or Caw and TI Blue back to back. So, not super thrilled about that. I put this Vader lead team in phase 1, full auto, just wanted to see what would happen. Obviously, AI sucks, but I still wanted to see what would happen, what it looked like, just to see if Vader with the rework is powerful enough to kind of muscle its way through, and it is. I would not recommend doing this on auto in phase 1, let alone phases 2, 3, or 4, but certainly if you have these tunes available, then you could definitely muscle through, just not on auto. Most people are not going to have a relic and or Zated IPD, so you could put somebody else in for that. I mean, you could run with Watt, like a lot of people are doing in Arena and GAC and TW. That is if you don't want to use your Watt somewhere else, which I did for this TB. Again, full auto, so of course IPD is going to blow himself up, given the opportunity. Yeah, so full auto was dicey, but I just, to prove the effectiveness of it, I wanted to at least give it a shot on full auto in phase 1. But yeah, if you throw Watt in here instead of IPD and you put the taunt tech on Shore Trooper, you're in good shape. So by now, almost everyone knows this counter or has seen a video on it. That's fine. I was okay not being the first one to put it out, even though I recorded this literally as soon as the client restart happened after the Vader rework. It does work best with all 3 Zetas. Yeah, I don't think it's nearly as effective with just 2 Zetas. You could argue that the other unique probably not necessary, but I don't really think it hurts, especially if you're going up against Hermiota. Yeah, so really all this is keeping Rey targeted and fractured to get all those extra dots from Watt on her, and that's it. Funnily enough, this team is easier with this Vader counter than the other teams that we see, like the, so to speak, vanilla teams. This all Jedi team is much easier than, double tank, double resistance tank, or Finn Poe or whatever. It's still doable with slightly different, variations, but yeah, this like souped up multi-meta Jedi team is much easier for this. Look at that, 680,000. It's much easier for this amalgam Vader team. Yeah, it's fun. It's easier to do this than a mirror. If you're facing Rey Jedi, it's much easier to do this than a mirror. I mean, look at all those dots. That's beautiful. All right, so we'll just finish this one up. By the way, the AI sucks. That doesn't come as a surprise, I'm sure. I did try putting this, not this exact team, but a team like this on D in GAC, and it was terrible. I thought maybe it might be interesting, but no, it was terrible. All right, so we're going to do it again just to show you that it wasn't a fluke or, a one-hit wonder. My Vader isn't even Relic 7. My Vader isn't Relic 7. My Shore isn't Relic 7. My Palp is, obviously. My Watt surely is not Relic 7, and my Gat is not Relic 7. So the only Relic 7 on my team is Palpatine. Yeah, again, so here I'm actually not even targeting just Rey, just making it a little bit more difficult for myself, which obviously you see is somewhat problematic. Yeah, so it's really about keeping Rey targeted as much and as often as possible. Obviously with GK in there, sometimes it's a little bit more difficult, but if you stay on Rey and keep a daze off of Watt, and she racks up, 10 or more debuffs. See, it didn't do anything there because it was only 6. If you rack up 10 or more dots, then you should one-shot her. Especially if you're modding Vader for crit damage. I went with more or less my fastest crit damage mods with potency offsets to make sure we land those buffs, 598, and I purposefully played this one imperfectly. So yeah, if you get 10 or more dots on her and you're running crit damage on Vader, then you should have no trouble. But just try to remember to target Rey the whole time, just to get dots on her. Because once she's dead, then everybody else is pretty much comparatively easy. And by the time you get Rey dead, Vader should have force crushed, AoE'd at least twice, if not more. And everyone, like you see here, should have plenty of dots on them. So boom, even with crit damage, immunity went down, 77. Let's go, boom, 256 non-crit. So yeah, much easier than a mirror, if you ask me. So obviously there are some variations to Rey teams. This one is Watt and L3. This is one of the ones that I was worried about with just the vanilla, so to speak, Vader rework team. So I threw Traya in here as a simple fix. All you do is, you don't need to have to fracture L3, just isolate L3, switch over to Traya. I think I switch over to Traya anyway. Yep, isolate L3, and then it is business as usual. You're going to want a decently fast Traya so that when Thrawn switches over to her, he'll take her turn meter and she'll be close to full. Obviously not as full as Thrawn. Yeah, look at that. I already got 7 and I didn't even target her. Oh, she went down that time anyway. 410, I think it was. So yeah, having the double heroes in here does make it a lot more difficult. I've found that one of the most difficult teams is Rey, double heroes, JTR, and L3. Because I tried this in GAC, and I think that was one of the ones I faced in GAC. But yeah, that one is very difficult, both for this team and for the full Jedi counter for Rey, which I think I made. And yeah, I made that I showed you that in my Luke Skywalker video. The reason being, if JTR mind tricks the wrong person and you get stuck behind in terms of turn meter, then you're screwed. So, but yeah, I mean, this is great. And I know I'm late to the party, like I said, but I didn't want to put anything out before TW this last weekend, even though it didn't help at all. But yeah. And yes, this L3 is a G12, I get it, but I mean, once you isolate her, it doesn't really make a difference what gear or relic level she is. on airplane so I don't bump my buddy. And let's just finish him off. Look at that. Okay. All right. So, sure, you might be seeing Maliks on a Ray team too. And the easiest way to counter that is to just throw DR and Malik in here instead of Palpatine and Shore. Yeah. The Malik mirror, so to speak, makes it tolerable. The two Maliks will just go at each other and drain each other or whatever, and yeah, see, so. Just keep on getting more dots on Ray. And you notice I do usually do Ray last, just in case I can get enough dots up on her. See, like that. So now she's got 10. I still have her. I'll hit Poe first, and then I'll hit Ray. Boom, 530. So don't go guns blazing and go and targeting Ray first once you got Merciless. Work around the team and go hit Ray last. Make sure she's last, and make sure you don't waste your Force Crush, because you should have it back. If you're doing Merciless, you'll do, 1 basic, 2 basic, Force Crush, and then Culling Blade on Ray. Hopefully you'll have enough dots. Easy peasy, Japanesey. I really wanted to get the killing blow with Vader, but whatever. All right, have fun.